Alright, guys. So, alright. So the next one is called Foundation Necessary for an Off-Grid Life. Alright. Living off the grid has been the most amazing experience and one that I will never be able to walk away from. It has brought such joy and freedom to my life. All the things we were seeking and more. And that's what we're aiming for, is for going off grid. We embarked on our off-grid journey when it wasn't well accepted, not thought to be glamorous, but we were determined and pushed past all opposition and skeptics to a life we treasure. With that being said, I would like to encourage you to embrace your dreams and not worry about what anyone else has to say. The best parts of life are on the other side of your comfort zone.
Alright, okay, lass.
There are a lot of misconceptions that come with off-grid living, as well as a necessity to have an excellent foundation for your thinking before embarking on such a journey. So let's dive into some of those things you'll need to understand and consider. How solar power and alternative energy work. The sun or brightness shines on your solar panels and creates electricity. That electricity travels through an exterior breaker box on larger systems as a safeguard to prevent an excessive surge from reaching the house. It then travels from the outer breaker box into the house into a charge controller. The charge controller evaluates how full your battery bank is and will either allow the DC power to travel into the batteries to fully charge them or divert that power because the batteries are full. The charge controller is, in essence, protecting your batteries from an overcharge. The DC power then flows from the batteries into an inverter, where the DC power is then converted to AC power. Once the power is converted to AC power, it flows into the breaker box in your home, just like the grid power would, and powers your home. It is a fantastic free resource that we do not take for granted. And I believe I am as solar powered as my home. As I write this, it is a gray winter day in Idaho, and I must say the sun is not only a renewable resource, but it is also renewing. In addition to solar power, you also have options such as wind and hydro. All will work the same once the power is created and heads toward the charge controller. Although I love our solar, if you have the opportunity to harness wind or hydro, these resources will provide you with 24/7 unlimited power and are the ultimate power resources if you can tap into them. You can also combine multiple forms of renewable energy such as solar and wind together, etc. Choosing a renewable system that is right for you and your family is going to be important and will be based on your standard power consumption and your power needs. Backup power generator. Many of you on the grid have a generator backup if the power goes out to power freezers, refrigerators, and maybe power the well pump. Living off-grid with alternative energy, it is always good, especially with solar, to have a generator backup. It is important that you choose one suitable for the application. An inverter generator is essential to run appliances such as a washing machine or electronic equipment. Such equipment requires certain sine waves and fewer surging possibilities. It is wise to use surge-protected power strips with your appliances and electronics to eliminate troubles with surging. This also makes it easy to turn off your strips and stop unnecessary power consumption. If the generator is running to charge your batteries and you would like to run your washing machine,
I promise you I'd help you, and I would.
It is vital to have an inverter generator so that your appliances and the generator play better together. Otherwise, you will likely only be able to use your generator to power your batteries and not be able to run appliances. Honda generators are known for their stability, quietness, and longevity. We have a Honda EU700IS or EU7000IS. Just to be sure you are purchasing an inverter generator and that it is powerful enough wattage-wise to run your system. Blech. I'm tired. Dang it. Renewable energy maintenance. There is minimal maintenance involved with alternative energy options, but with anything, the better you take care of it, the longer it will last. If you have high winds in your area and solar panels are set up, it is always good to ensure they are heavily secured and insured for all Mother Nature may throw their way. There are different types of batteries on the market today. Lead-acid batteries require monthly maintenance by checking the fluids on the batteries. Keep in mind as well that lead-acid batteries off gas, meaning they need to be vented and shouldn't be in a living area, but instead in a utility room that is well vented. There are AGM batteries on the market that require no maintenance and do not off gas. They are a little more pricey, but in my opinion are the way to go for longevity. Lithium batteries are also available and they are more expensive, but they will last longer, so this will all depend on the budget you have. Things to consider before moving or going off-grid. First and foremost, you must check with your state and local municipalities to be sure, first, if it is legal to live off-grid, and second, to see if there are any specific guidelines you will need to follow. We're kind of lucky here in Oklahoma because there aren't really any major guidelines to follow, so you don't necessarily have to move to go off-grid. If your location meets state and county guidelines and your property is ideal for off-grid living, you could put alternative energy in place right where you are. You could also purchase a piece of property in your dream location, but you will need to keep a couple things in mind for both scenarios. If you intend to use solar, you will need good southern exposure to the sun. If you don't have good exposure to the sun, solar will not work well for you. If you intend to use hydro with a stream you have running on your current or future property, the stream needs to have a particular grade, and it will require a necessary amount of pressure to provide you with ample power. This is something you should really evaluate before committing. The same will apply to wind. If you want to use a wind turbine in an area with little or no wind, that won't be a viable option. If this is something you feel you need assistance with, as well as choosing a system for yourself, we do offer off-grid and homestead consulting on our website at trayerwilderness.com/consulting. That was TRAYERWilderness.com/consulting. Things to know before going off-grid. During the day when the sun is shining, you basically have endless amounts of power. However, when the sun is off the solar panels, you will be receiving power from what is stored in your battery bank. With that being said, it is essential to either be intentional with your power usage during such times, have a large battery bank, or be aware that you will drain your batteries and will need to use a generator to recharge your batteries. You will also have the added expense of fuel for your generator. We personally choose to live very frugally, so we are very mindful of our power consumption at all times to eliminate the expense of fuel. When there are too many gray days in a row, we need to use a generator, but under normal circumstances, we fare well by having adjusted to a frugal mindset. So with that being said, here are some things to consider and evaluate. We use all LED lights in our house because they use way less power than a standard light bulb. When we leave a room, we turn out the lights and leave nothing on using power. We intentionally have very few electric appliances and have replaced many with hand crank alternatives, such as our arcade coffee grinder, Wonder Mill hand crank grain mill, and an antique hand mixer, to name a few. And I'm going to be looking into these things for us as well. It is essential to understand that anything that requires power and uses heat, such as a hairdryer, curling iron, toaster oven, crock pot, air popcorn popper, or clothes iron, requires extreme amounts of power. For example, a clothing iron uses 1200 watts of power regularly, When you add the mist, it pulls 1800 watts. That is a lot of power and will quickly drain your batteries. I would recommend purchasing a P3 4400 kilowatt electricity usage monitor or the like to evaluate your most power consuming appliances. Well pumps, refrigerators, freezers, standard water heaters, electric clothes dryers, and non-energy efficient appliance. Any non-energy efficient appliance will pull large amounts of power. We created a workaround for our water pump by hand wiring it to a breaker. This enabled us to fill a 275-gallon holding tank in our utility room when the sun was shining or the generator was running. Our water was plumbed into the house using PEX piping, a 12V SHUR flow RV water pump, and a small solar system hookup to keep the 12-volt battery charged that was necessary to run the pump. This worked fabulously and offered excellent water pressure too. Our refrigerator and freezer are propane powered. Now the problem is when the power grids go down, we're not going to be able to go and get propane. Since making our purchases over a decade ago, oh my goodness, I'm tired, you guys. Since making our purchases over a decade ago, there are other appliances today with multi-power options, such as electric and propane, and there are even solar-powered refrigerators. We used an on-demand hot water heater that also worked wonderfully. We used an energy-efficient front-loading washing machine and purchased a gas front-loading dryer, but never actually used the dryer. We got a pulley system wash line put in place, and that was the bomb. In place of the slow cooker or Instapot, I use a sun oven in the summer months and my wood cook stove in the winter months. And we're planning on using the wood cook stove, and I am going to get a sun oven, that's for sure. Expense over convenience or convenience over expense? That is the question. It will truly depend on how you wish to live and if you want less expense over convenience. I enjoy having fewer expenses because that allows us to do more on our homestead and aids in our preparedness efforts. Not to mention, there is a lot to be said about a simple life. Less is truly more, in my opinion. A couple of last thoughts. If you choose to embark on an off-grid journey, my best advice is to do your homework and research. As I've said, do your research, guys. Find people in the know to help guide you through, ask lots of questions, and enjoy the process. My book, How to Embrace an Off-Grid Lifestyle, Our Journey, and a step-by-step look at the lifestyle may be helpful for you on your journey. You can also find an off-grid playlist on our Trayer Wilderness YouTube channel, and I welcome your questions and emails. It is a very rewarding lifestyle with a lot of freedom, and as I said in the beginning, I couldn't live any other way now that I have taken the plunge. Tammy Trayer is a freelance writer, the radio host of Mountain Woman Radio on iTunes, and is the author of several books, including How to Embrace an Off-Grid Lifestyle. She and her family live traditionally off-grid in northern Idaho and enjoy sharing their life at TrayerWilderness.com. And that was all for foundation necessary for an off-grid life. And I'll go ahead and get this up there, and I will see you guys on the next one. Remember, guys, do your research. That is very, 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 very important. I cannot stress that enough, because that's where you're going to learn. And learning is more than half of the battle, because it puts that knowledge up here. And make sure you have hard copy, other books. Books are great, because, you have them. You can go back to them. Pinterest is great, but you'll have to type and print out the information or write it out. So, yeah. I would recommend get as many homesteading books as you can, on everything that you're doing or want to do on your homestead. Get as many books as you can. And, build a homesteading library, because that's going to be there and that's going to help you guys when you need it. So, I'm going to go ahead and get off from here, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.